Okay, good morning, good afternoon, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to our public talk May 2023. It looks like people are still stuck in the traffic, but we get started. Otherwise, many people are going to be. It's only 7 people. So welcome to our public meeting. Thanks to the people online. Just get started, and those who are still in the room will find us going. Now, this public talk was supposed to be held on the 21st of March. That was the people online. Just explain that if the people on the machines can you organize. So we're supposed to have this public talk on 21st of March. And that was the International Day of Forestry. The theme was and still is, because it runs up to the end of the year, is forests and health. And I think all over the world, all of us interpreted this phrase as it fits our circumstances. But without making any interpretation, I can see most of us are scientists. We know what forests are, we know how important forests are. Not only that they're important for our simple things, what I call simple things that we take for granted, like air to breathe, but also are the sources of water for much of the fresh water of the world. Today we are going to be talking about medicine. I was talking to a doctor friend of mine, and he said that over 50, probably 60% of Ugandans still depend on traditional medicine. So when you get a problem, you run to the bush and pick a few branches and leaves and things like that, and off you go. But for us who have been working in the conservation world, you also know how forests are important to the livelihoods of our people behind there. One of the most important, but again we take for granted, is firewood. For me, I come from Kabale, and in Kabale now, if you have not planted your own tree, you cannot have fire. Because the forests are not there anymore, there are no bushes anymore, so you must get firewood from your own wood. Last week I was in the train, and I told them that the train people are still very lucky. There's still a lot of greenery, there's still a lot of trees in the landscape. And I said, don't be like me. Please protect the landscapes. So we moved from 21st of March, and we said it's a very good topic. It's a very good theme. It's something that touches almost everybody's life. We proceeded and said if we can get the presenters, then we can still have the public one. And we have quite good, eminent personalities who are going to share with us very good knowledge on this aspect. So for us, we tried to scale it down. Forest and health is a very, very large topic. When I was talking to one of the presenters, she said, but this is just so light. It's like you're talking about conservation of the world and the medicine of the world. And it's very, very, very difficult for anybody to work out something to share with people. So we pointed out a smaller piece of the bigger topic, and that is the forest as a resource and a potential solution to human health. And the people we have, as I'm going to introduce them, you notice we are okay, that they could have time. So, Esther, sometimes a PhD in natural products research, and she has got more than 40 publications, 40 peer-reviewed publications. And that is, for those who have published things, you know what that one means. So, Dr. Esther Katura, you are very welcome. Join me and welcome. But actually, the simple presenter is on the other side. So I want to kindly ask you to come and go on. I think it's not particularly high level, but it's a matter. Okay. The second presenter we have this afternoon is the person that you all know. You may not have met him, but at least you have heard about him. He is Professor Patrick Ogwang. Again, like Esther, Professor Patrick Ogwang is known all over the world. He's a graduate of pharmacy, currently associate professor of pharmacology at Barrow University of Science and Technology. I think that's in the head of the department. So, the head of the department of pharmacy is the immediate past president of the Council of the Pharmaceutical Sciences of Uganda. He also serves as the executive chairman of NatureUganda, right? Again, he will help me in some of these things. NatureUganda, I think we all remember that. It's a private company which was involved in the manufacture of Covidex. You remember Covidex, which is a herbal extract that was extensively used during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I don't think he stops at viral, but also has done a lot of work on sickle cell, on malaria, or other virus sections. I think you can help in the explaining further in those other things. So Professor Ogwang's research focuses on testing, developing, and producing medicines from plants based on traditional medicine, knowledge, and scientific laboratory evidence. And more recently, he has received an award on innovation and research from Global Peace Foundation. And this was provided because of that outstanding commitment that Professor has had to fight COVID, particularly using indigenous knowledge and herbal medicine. Professor Kwan, you are most welcome. Thank you very much for finding and joining us. I'm also going to ask you kindly to go to the, we shall call it a high level for today. So we were asked COVID, remember, it affected a lot of organizations. It also affected us. We couldn't hold public talks for more than 2.5 years because people could not get back together. And even when we started, I think people are still a bit skeptical. They're not yet in the mood of the former public talks that we used to have. But what has helped, and I think everything comes with some advantages, but it also came with a bit of positive advantages. Whereas we are few in number here, but we've got a big number that's actually listening to us on the line. So we are a big team, only that quite many friends have not come here, but they are listening online. So members who are online, you are most welcome. Please, if you are not hearing or there is something that you want us to do, I have a team of technicians here who can make your listening much more comfortable. And also, if you are not going to speak and you're online, you mute so that you don't have echo through the speakers here. Then you can follow this. Okay, so I think it's not me to speak. Really, I should let the experts speak. I will only ask Jonathan and Solomon if you are ready. Then I will call the first presenter to come and make her presentation. That's Dr. Esther Katola. If her presentation is ready, then I invite her to come and make her presentation. Okay, you ready? No matter if a blood with IT people, they do a lot of things. They don't seem to be able ready at any one time. Okay, fine. So we are ready, Esther. Thank you very much for coming and joining me, and we'll come, Dr. Come and make us. I think I was not seeing the screen a little bit well, so I think we shall extend a little bit. Let's see that too. Okay,
thank you so much, Dr. Actually, for that big introduction. I can't add any because you have magnified what is on the ground. Yeah, as it is, most welcome members. Today, I'm going to discuss a pertinent issue under the theme of forests and health. This is an issue that touches us all, that is actually pivotal in human life and sustenance. And as the doctor says, the specific topic will be forests as a resource and potential solution to human health. Next. I'll give this presentation by first giving the definition of terms, the background to this presentation, the benefits, challenges, solutions, and the conclusion. Next. I will confine myself to forests, whereby a forest is an area of land dominated by trees, and where a tree is a woody plant that regularly renews its growth. We call that perennial, meaning each year it renews its growth. A resource is a supply or support, especially one that can be readily drawn upon when needed. While collectively resources produce wealth for the country, the pound or the country depends on its resources. And human wealth, in this context, as the complete state of the physical, social, mental well-being. I will not restrict myself to the illness or infirmity, but it's also a resource as any other resources, such as water. So this forest are celebrated annually in order to provide importance, to raise awareness for their importance. And this year, the celebration was put under the theme Forests and Health. And this shows the significant importance of forests to health. So the forests and their ecosystems are actually important for health and well-being. In addition to other, I think you have moved fast. Are you giving me time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. To other values such as ecological, economic values that the forests provide, and they support health through prevention of diseases, through intervention, and through promotion of well-being, human well-being. Next. These provisions may be direct or indirect for people, such as the indigenous local communities, especially in developing countries, who rely on forests for edible products, such as fruits, mushrooms, and others, such as medicinal plants. They also provide services such as fresh water, etc. And they contribute even to wider communities such as the urban dwellers and in sustenance of health and well-being and prevention of disease. Today's society, lifestyle diseases or the non-communicable diseases are play a significant role in the cause of bad health. And these can be, forests can prevent their intervention through elements such as parks, forests, and stimulating people's health and well-being through this. Climate change and well-being and prosperity for the current and future generations. Next. We are in line with the Sustainable Development Goals for poverty eradication, but of course for health for all. So we know that about 2 billion people worldwide depend on goods and services and income from forests. And the nutrition significance and health significance from forest products and forests has increased tremendously in the recent years. And the theme calls for healthy forests for healthy people. what are the specific benefits, health benefits of forest demand? One is forest visits. These enhance physiological and psychological health. We are seeing poor health in urbanized societies due to modern lifestyles, which are sedentary, work, and mental stress. And we are seeing an increased potential of natural and green spaces in enhancing human health being recognized globally. The forest environments actually promote mental and physical health in many ways by reducing stress, recovering from attentional fatigue, and enhancement of psychological and physiological rehabilitation. We also have seen that other psychological diseases such as conditions such as stress and triggering of depression has been achieved through forest visits and forest products. We have a student who has done his research on that, and there are indications of proven evidence on that. Also, forest visits increase physical activity and may strengthen the immune system, among other health benefits. Need for further research to determine that, but it's also information about that. Forests also provide a food safety net, whereby the forest diversity combats malnutrition and diseases, the most vulnerable populations in developing countries. Forest foods actually provide a safety net when there is food shortage and insecurity and malnutrition, especially in developing countries such as Uganda. This may add nutrients to people's diets in times of famine, in times of war, and even improving the immunity in the immunocompromised persons who have no access to the standard of modern nutritional supplements. We have a student who has also proved that mainly forest foods like fruits and nuts, among others, mushrooms, insects, have high quantities of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals that are required in daily health diets. They also include phytochemicals such as phenolics and carotenoids. However, with no scientific evidence, sometimes we end up consuming toxic compounds from the same mushrooms and other plants. Forest foods, e.g. berries, have provided good nutrition and health promoting values such as antioxidants. Next. Berries have provided phenolics, flavonoids with high antioxidant activities, and this prevents the non-communicable diseases as we say, the cancer, the diabetes, type 2 diabetes, etc. Research, however, is still needed on the bioavailability and consumption of these bioactive compounds, especially for indigenous plants, for local plants here. Next. We also have forest-related diseases and hazards. Forest environments may pose risks to human health. Having contact with forest, frequent contacts, one cause forest-related infectious diseases is a life cycle of many infectious diseases which involve pathogen vector and the human relationships can lead to diseases. Infections such as malaria actually can be associated with forest habitats, which are preferred habitats for such pathogens. These infections, we have seen them, some of them are severe in Uganda. Emerging diseases, epidemics like Ebola also have been said to come from consumption of bushmeat, for instance. However, we know that trees or plants have bioactive compounds that can mitigate these diseases. Next. These infectious diseases are on the increase because of bad practices such as loss of biodiversity and habitat alteration, the lack or the misuse of forests. Human-induced land use changes are considered as the primary drivers actually of infectious disease outbreaks. Ecosystem alterations lead to emergence of diseases as they jump from hosts to vectors and to humans. And modification of the forest ecosystems is such as deforestation and biodiversity degradation beyond a certain threshold may increase the risk of disease transmission. Research is needed to regulate this. How much will be conserved even at local level? Climate change, there is need for modeling and further research to see how the effect of climate change and infectious disease, how it can be controlled and how they can be managed. Forests also include other risks to human. Of course, we've heard of landslides and flood because of forest destructions, and we have seen many people die. It's on the news every day. Next. Forests include many wild and toxic fruits and foliage and fungi that may have allergic reactions, irritant reactions, snakes, the insects. Of course, we know that drugs are toxic, but some drugs are also toxic to the level of being fatal. The need further need for research, and we have our communities continuing to depend or to use these medicinal plants or nutritional plants without this knowledge, and it's essential that we disseminate. The pollen from trees may be good, especially in promotion of forest products such as honey that can have antimicrobial activities, especially from the indigenous trees or forests. However, they may also have allergens, and ex vivo forests that conservation that may tamper with the natural systems should also be further researched to model the benefits versus the indigenous forests. Next. Most importantly, the forests also provide us with medicines The local communities depend on Galenico preparations. We have seen a lot of Galenico preparations on our markets when we go to the different markets, even supermarkets. And we benefit from this forest products even when we are in urban centers. They provide bioactive compounds like the flavonoids, like the tannins, phenols, as we say. Drugs have been developed, quinine, carotenoids with antioxidant properties, anti-cancer activities, among others. In fact, a compound taxol from the Taxus bark is considered the best to have the best treatment outcome among those good treatment outcomes for ovarian and breast cancers. We have local plants where research has been done, and in vitro they are very promising to have these also compounds that could be further standardized or synthesized into food medicines, compounds. Of course, we say about 25% of medicinal drugs are plant-based in developed countries, but developing countries of about 80%, because you can go even to our food being our medicine. I was talking to Professor Wang about an ailment, and he was telling me about a certain food for a certain ailment. It can go as wide as that. Forests also provide products such as hygiene products, toilet paper and tissues, all from the cellulose of these trees. The frontline medical workers use gloves made of masks made of soluble cellulose fiber and pulp from trees. Next. But key to note is that we said trees are perennial. If you look at wood anatomy, some of our trees, especially the indigenous trees in our indigenous forests, can be as old as 300 years, meaning they have taken 300 years, and each year of growth is a renewed ring that brings deposits or lignification process for these phytocompounds to accumulate. So some of these trees are irreplaceable. Some of these products are irreplaceable. If we are talking about the 300 years, we need to preserve some of these compounds. Altogether, think about ways of how to mitigate such a loss if there is. But also, apart from this, there are many other natural health products that come from this. The microbial endophytes, fungi, for instance, mushrooms, it's a wide business in Asia for health products. Even in Africa, we have seen all these products from fungi for antimicrobial prevention and treatment, and of course, nutritional benefits. etc. The classes of fungi like the Basidiomycetes have been found to have anti-tumor activities. The endophytic fungi isolated from plants have anti-tumor agents. The concern is that we have to get away of preventing diminishing this resource, which is containing novel bioactive compounds that may be irreplaceable, as well as utilizing it as a resource for provision or promotion of our economic development. Next is that forest shield us against future pandemics. Of course, we talk of zoonotic diseases. These are pathogens that originate from humans from animals to humans, and of course these come about especially as forest ecosystems are destroyed beyond a significant or level as required. We have seen or heard that many severe acute respiratory syndromes are emerging from such conditions as forests are being degraded. Next. We have the indigenous communities. For instance, the Batwa in Uganda here, until recent, they were working on forests fully, health, livelihood, and everything. Meaning, this is a key identifier for us that in forests there's everything that can sustain human health, well-being, and life. This can be tapped. This knowledge can be tapped and is being tapped to sustain health. Next. Of course, it is important to do research and find the implication of the different communities and castes such as gender and age and their impact on conservation or utilization, sustainable utilization, or even beneficial health activities in health and communities. The markets of traditional medicines and traditional and natural foods is expanding worldwide, and it's not going to stop. The Western world is using natural products even more than the synthetic products because they are believed by most to be most safer than the synthetic products or synthetic drugs. Next. Of course, food and nutrition. Some food forest plants have been shown to have supplements to normal diets higher than the domesticated vegetables, and research is on as fast there. But also forests are reservoirs for genetic resources, and they have a potential to nourish a wider public at present, of course, and in future. It's a global heritage. Next. The landscape modification, of course, is often motivated by the need for food, and we are facing a challenge of increased population, and as a result, there is a lot of logging, hunting, invasive species, and this is affecting the food productivity of the forest, even to the local communities or to the wider communities, as well as the medicines. And of course, that leads to the risk of the immunocompromised and other marginalized groups that cannot access the modern products or allopathic medicines. I've seen firewood, fuel wood, which is used for cooking. Of course, it's a health hazard, partly to the children and women, but no research has been done on that, and those are gaps that we see. Next. We are used to such scenarios, or we were used to such scenarios, a group of young people, as they graze or as they dig, nourishing themselves the natural way. And as we talk about the degradation of forests, our health is being impacted. But we need to tap this as a resource for economic growth, of course. How do we do it? Next. I will talk about the key challenges in summary. We have the cause that may make us lose that resource and that health benefit for trees. One is ecosystem biodiversity and degradation. We have seen this. We have seen deforestation as a challenge, much as conservationists and other professionals talk, we have seen that we continue to see degradation and loss of forest land cover each and every year. The effects of climate change and we need to work. We have lost a lot of natural habitats. Every trend that comes about, we are losing. We need to start overcoming, especially preserving some of the indigenous as well as we afforestate or have other forests that are commercial. We have overexploitation of the forest resources in search of the health products, especially the fish species. We have seen some of these listed globally, and some of these may be endemic. In addition, the implementation of research results into practice is adequate. We have few researchers, we have frontliners, like we have Dr. Guam here, but they are few. And the results are inadequate. We are few. We need more researchers. It's a challenge. There is a lot of conflict between the indigenous local communities against the forest management teams. The indigenous and local communities have been used to have their livelihoods, their medicines, their foods from these forests. The forest management teams must conserve and preserve. It's a challenge, the need to solve these conflicts and manage the resource for profitability of our country and the economy is paramount. Okay, of course, this is what we tried. We are talking of the increased market demand for pharmaceutical products can lead to overharvesting. We all need it. When you send on WhatsApp anything herbal, everyone wants to buy it the other day. Of course, some are well researched and some need more research or are not. But this may cause extinction of endangered species, destruction of natural habitats, loss of one species in an ecosystem, especially this tree which I told you can take 300 years and they are evergreen and there. If you lose such a species in a forest with its canopy, you may change the whole ecosystem and the whole forest diversity and the benefits are lost. The lack of evidence-based medicine. This would enable us to do selective harvest of these products if we had evidence to these species. Inadequate technologies in the study of ecological studies, even composition, occurrence, even abundance of the different forest diversity, it is low. We are still managing. We need to move to drones, study quickly, make quick models that give us occurrences and trends and status of these diversities, especially things which are big. I think drones can even easily capture such information. Growing population has an impact on forest and land resource. We need to have mitigating measures to this, insufficient research, there's insufficient scientific evidence of the psychological and physiological health benefits of forests. This needs to be concretized, that we have more researchers and many more researchers giving us this data so that we can utilize this resource, food gardens or forest parks and reserves for that. And benefit as we benefit from national parks, the revenue from forests is still low because such information is not there. The relationships, of course, between the infectious disease and forests, of course, we are saying it's still inadequate. How do we know when the balance is offset or when we are still safe? There's still need for modeling in such cases. Inadequate knowledge on the green environments and their adaptation. We know that they are beneficial, but how do we balance the resource exploitation and conservation for health is important for our researchers to take on. Next. Yeah, it's not a sad story. There are many challenges, but of course, there are possible solutions. Because we know that forests and their products effectively can reduce public health care budgets, and they can also create new sources of income. But we need some solutions to have this visualized or achieved. We need cooperation amongst others. Thank you, organizers. You always bring about this cooperation, but we should be more than this, online and physical, on such an issue. If it's under discussion for sure, in a country like Uganda, where forests can change our economy. The policymakers, the foresters, the health workers, environmental professionals, researchers, and others which come together. We cannot work in isolation anymore. We must provide evidence based on these natural resources and medicines for health. The synthesis of medicines from the novel bioactive plant molecules needs to be initiated. We don't have any synthesized medicines here. It's possible, and I think it's an area that researchers need to put their feet in, the chemists, pharmacists. Next. We need also to strengthen the existing value chains in the key forest species with these benefits. Of course, value chain will help in our conservation, but also give us money as well as give us the health benefits. If we had this in place, some few existing, many are lacking even on the species, and we see degradation instead of financial benefits from this resource. Afforestation efforts have been done. Efforts are insufficient, they are inadequate. There's need for further promotion of afforestation. Enhanced cultivation of medicinal plants and trees with improved technologies such as tissue culture and other technologies to improve the varieties and improve the health values, being the active compounds or other health values. It needs to, cultivation needs to take place based on scientific technologies that can give us benefit of that resource. Of course, this requires strengthening the links amongst the basic sciences, applied sciences, research, policymakers, and of course, the health practitioners. Without that collaboration, we work in isolation and we don't yield much. Of course, sustainable utilization by the local communities And the governance, the local governance is important for the products that are obtained from forests. It has always been the case, population is striking against us. At international level, we need, and Uganda is one of the countries that has been active in this. We are trying, but we actually need to, and we are in the process of implementation of, for instance, the Nagoya Protocol resolution on access and benefit sharing at all levels of genetic resources, including the traditional knowledge, so that the local community, indigenous person is happy and benefiting for a resource and doesn't have to go and poach it. Whereas the industrialists and the investor is also benefiting, as well as the community getting the products for their health and the services. The implementation of the IP target 8A on traditional knowledge, this is to solve the local problem of these resources, but also updating the National Biodiversity Strategic Plan should include pertinent issues by the conservation of biodiversity on forest and resource conservation, and the implementation by the relevant agencies should be strengthened so that we see substantive conservation and economic benefit from this resource. Of course, the need for inventories on what we have has always been paramount, because every day, if we say we are altering the biodiversity, the diversity in a forest, and we are losing the endophytes, and we are losing the mycorrhizal relationships, and we are losing the benthos, leave alone those mammals and Dr. Matthias, those also small, the ones we work on are being lost, and we are not following that, and most of them are medicinal, have medicinal value. The need for those that are basing still remains paramount. Digitization and sequencing of these resources and different species for future benefit, for repatriation or patriation of what has been taken already, for conservation. I think this is the area that is virgin, and people need to get into it. Even in access and benefit sharing, should target that so that we benefit paramount. Next. In conclusion, I can simply say that forests help in controlling infectious diseases. They provide food as well as pharmaceutical and nutraceutical products. Forests advance achievement of our SDGs in combating hunger, poverty, and drought. Forests provide numerous ecosystems that help in maintaining and improving health, living environments. The forest visits enhance mental and physical health of humans, new innovations, as well as new businesses in form of products, nutritional, medicinal, other health services have enormous potential here. And of course, in addition to the wide application of the forest therapy and green exercise, which would significantly reduce national healthcare budgets and eliminate the non-communicable diseases. As we speak, the trade is ongoing. That is a back of a famous tree that is red listed. is realistic. And of course, that was taken many years ago, and that was sometimes is exported through the Africana. When you look at that bark, that tree must have been many ages old. If we are losing that, even if we plant, even if we use our technologies, it may take us another while to do the research or comparison, as we talked about the lignification process taking very long. We need to put measures in place so that we can preserve some of those that here now. There are so many very key species that will change the economy of Uganda as a resource. Efforts are being made, but it's over to you. How best have we achieved that? Is that all? Okay, thanks for even for listening, and I give it over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nakula, for the presentation. As you may have noticed, it was more complicated, but he has tried to simplify the topic so that we can really get it well.
And now, if you're through, shall we all meet at the same time?
When you are speaking, somebody feels like
I thought you were
just go out and start eating plants. Because that's where the topic is. That's where all the medicine is. That's where all the good nutrients are.
They come which
And supporting over 2.5 billion people, maybe this is even when you talk about
the only thing is that we are not given those
importance to mental health,
even those groups.
I remember one of the headlines, I think sometime back, saying that was it 14% or 14 million people
Who is teaching you research?
in Uganda who had some mental issues. So I'm trying to see whether this is connected to loss of forest.
Send this supervision group.
That's another area of research that we may need to get in. But what you have mentioned that is quite important, and we have also discussed it in our other areas of research or of ecological research, is that there is always a tipping point. You can just continue using, but there's a tipping point. There is a point where the ecosystem can actually collapse.
I am saying
what happens now is that actually the collapse can be made by one species. Just one species can lead to ecosystem collapse, and that's exactly what you have just mentioned. And you said there is need for more research in many things. It looks like we don't know a lot. There's a lot that we don't know, but at least here we have somebody who knows a little bit of the things that Esther has mentioned that we should do research on. And I would request that you keep your questions and your comments, because I think the next presentation will complement this one, so that then we can have a general discussion together. Is that okay? Okay, so if that is fine, then may I invite my friend, Professor Wang, to come and tell us, but also simplify the topic. I know science can be complicated, so simplify the topic so that the audience, both here and online, can follow the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Mine is the simplified one. Good evening to you all. Good evening. Don't worry about my topic. I always make my things very simple. So they're all in there. I don't want to forget to inform that I came with my wife, Dr. Lilian, Done of the dog area. So I need to. Oh, okay. I want to thank Dr. Esther very much for giving us the detail of what we need to know. She's done extremely great work in researching and putting together the things that we need to know. Some of it is scary, some of it is warning us, some of it is encouraging us. Good work together. I come from a point of both academia and practice. So my presentation was a bit of academics and a bit of business. So I hope you will bear with it. Next slide. So a brief about me. My company is called NatureUganda Limited. I founded it in 2006 when I was working with Dr. Esther, the Minister of Health, with the laboratory there for medicine research. That's when I founded a company. Why did I establish a company? Because in 2006, I discovered that there is potential in natural medicine. In years to come, there will be need for a manufacturing unit that will convert the research done in universities, such institutions into products that can help the population. So that's when I founded the company. And the company vision, our vision is to serve humanity with quality natural products. Our focus is to help people have better health using quality natural products. And we do research, we develop, manufacture, and provide these products based on African indigenous knowledge. And we emphasize the fact that Africans have our own unique knowledge, which the world can learn from us, the world can benefit from. So we study what our grandfathers did, and we apply science, prove evidence, like Esther said, and use technology to convert them into products that can be used by people in modern societies. So I'm not trained from other universities. I'm from Makerere University, all my degrees. And as already mentioned, I work in Makerere University of Pharmacy, and I'm also the health department. I've received quite a number of donations locally and internationally. 2014, I selected this one because 2014 I got that approval from the Minister of Health, where I developed a product that prevents malaria. Take that tea, and you don't get malaria completely. Surprising to me was that I got the award, but you cannot still die with malaria. Minister of Health is still here to take up that product, and you cannot prevent malaria. So the topic of today is forest as a resource and potential solution to human health. What has missed. I would have loved it to be forest as a resource and a solution to human health, not a potential, but a solution. And I'll show you why I think it's a solution, not just a potential. I want to begin by asking myself some questions. Do we know? Okay. I think there is my voice a bit low. Do we know any hospital for animals, wild animals in Uganda? Eh? If you go to the hospital there, I've never seen one. Have you seen the pharmacy where animals go to get medicine for animals? Have you seen animals be sick in large numbers and dying in large numbers? Where? I've not visited the forest and they see animals falling sick and being sick in large numbers. The question is why? The next slide. The secret to animals being in the forest and not falling sick as human beings are doing, and not dying massively like we saw during COVID time in the forest. The forest is both the hospital and a restaurant for animals. Studies have shown that these animals know which trees are food, which trees are medicines. They know which trees prevent diseases, which trees are curing diseases. I one time went to Lake Mburo National Park and I saw giraffe eating acacia. I think acacia in the trees. Because I can help me. They ate the bark of it. If you read about the bark of it in America, it has many medicinal properties. viruses, or parasites, or bacteria, for almost everything. They eat it as their medicine and as their food. If you read about medicine, history of medicine, the father of medicine, which was called Hippocrates, says that our foods should be our medicine, and our medicines should be our foods. For animals, the foods and the medicines are in the forest, in the trees, in the grass. Human beings, we eat food separately and wait for sick and look for medicine. Our grandfathers never prepared food without medicine in it. My grandmother never prepared any meat without adding bitter leaves. Those belly now will not contain medicine. Their food incorporated medicine and food, so they never felt food like that. In Ateso, where I come from, the word forest is referred to as Amagoro. Amagoro, the forest. Now, medicine from Teso, African knowledge, is called Atagoro. Amagoro, Atagoro. Now, as forest and forest medicine. So, for our grandfathers, their medicine was from the forest. And actually, my grandfather on my father's side, he was a chief. His place will be called Omagoro. Now, if going to Omagoro, there was a big forest. Omagoro is a place where there is a forest. His home was just next to the forest. I'm told he lived that land today. I saw him in his last years without going to the hospital, 120 years. The day he was taken to the hospital and injected, the day he died. His pharmacy, his hospital was at the back of his house, before the Amagoro, where his medicine was. Next slide. Now, a Japanese professor called Iwao has proven that plants release medicine to the environment. They're called phytonutrients. If you go to mangrove forest and you see it, you are inhaling medicine that are curing you, that are preventing some diseases, just by sitting in the forest. And now it's a big business in Japan and whereby people go to forest to just relax and get cured or get treated. It means the farther away you are from the forest, the farther you are from phytonutrients, isn't it? And the more people are going to follow this. So we need to put more forest around that. Now, as Professor said, almost all medicines that we take in hospitals today come from forest origin. Either they are from plants directly or they are templates from plants. Whether quinine for malaria, coartem for malaria, decoxin for heart failure, and many others. They are from plants. We know that. But, continue. What's the difference between pharmaceutical drugs and herbal medicine or plant-based drugs? I think there are some few differences. If you look at the composition of the medicine pharmaceutical tablet, if I had one, I will show you here. Usually there's one compound or two maximum. Active compound, one or two. Herbal medicines contains many compounds in one. We now know that there is what we call synergy among those compounds. You cannot isolate one and leave others and you get a good result. Why we get side effects in modern medicine? Because we isolate one and leave those that fight the side effects together. Nature designed things to cooperate or to work together for the good of man and the environment. Modern medicine now, much as the template is from natural source, almost 90% is made in the laboratory from petroleum. We're going to get oil, isn't it? So the oil, the petroleum is a lot of chemicals now used to make, but they don't get from forests. They get the original structure from the plant, they set the structure, and then use petroleum to make that structure. It looks like it's saving us many costs, make it cheaper, and but the problem is is that a natural compound is different from synthetic compound. The result is the same. The chemistry looks the same, but there's a difference. Why? Now we know that what we call stereochemistry, flexibility points of the chemical compound. A natural compound has many flexible points, while the one in the lab has almost no flexible points. And that has an effect on causing toxicity in human beings. So whenever we make a synthetic compound, we cannot copy exactly the way nature does it. And we put a human being, there's a high likelihood of some problem. Different focus. Modern medicine, which I studied for, I think, 10 years in Makerere, one drug, one disease. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, you have asthma, each of them will have a drug or 2 drugs per disease. I don't know if someone taking 10 tablets at once. You see, people are taking like food. Because you must have one drug, one. It looks scientific. It looks more rational, but it's more of money making than the science factor. Because instead of giving you for malaria and for diabetes at the same time, I give you 2 products and I get more money. Now, natural medicines or plant-derived medicine are multifactorial. One plant we now know can have many benefits. If I take Mululuza for malaria, it also kills worms in my stomach. We know that. While killing the malaria, it's not killing the worms. It's also replacing something that the microbes like goes from the soil. So in a way, instead of going to treat malaria, then come back for then go back for worms, then go back for cough, how medicine does generally things before it comes. And that's why our grandfathers maybe lived longer. We know now that the more frequently you fall sick, the more likely for you to die younger, isn't it? Children are starting when they're more sick. And we actually know that I was in China for something when I talk about it. We're not where they use modern medicine and Chinese medicine together. You choose what you want. You go to Mulago, you say, I want herbal or I want pharmaceutical. It's like that. The budget for pharmaceutical always runs out before the year ends, like it happens in Uganda, isn't it? No medicines. But the budget for herbal medicine is always not exhaustive. They may take back some time to pay it. And ask them why. They told me that the people who use herbal medicine rarely fall sick. Those who modern medicine are always falling sick, so they use their budget. And it happens. You can go and find out. Those who use our medicine more frequently, those who modern medicine, we find that the frequency of visit is higher in modern medicine. And it's explainable, as I've already talked about previously. Now, the worst part of it is the side effects. I have, when I was, I think from the age of 10, I remember I used to take medicine, both herbal and sometimes chloroquine. But whenever you swallow a herbal medicine, you only feel the bitterness in the mouth. Bitterness when you're drinking. After that, there's no problem. But you take chloroquine, the whole day, you feel like vomiting, you feel like sleeping, side effects. I take herbal medicine almost every day. I don't experience any side effect. But when I take a modern medicine, the side effect doesn't make me headache. So, of course, if we are rational, if we are fair, herbal medicine are much cheaper than modern medicine. Next slide. So the question is, do natural medicine work? Do forest medicine work? Do Atagoro work? Let's check some slides. Now, this slide, I took this picture from a book, a botanical book done by government and universities, chemotherapeutics. In 1990, when there was HIV, the selected scientists move around villages and talk to how who are treating AIDS those days. Remember AIDS? AIDS was from HIV/AIDS. HIV, people become very small, they died and so on. So we had herbalists meeting people, and government wondered whether there was benefit or not. That slide may not be clear, but there was a herbalist called Martin who claimed he was treating HIV patients in 1990 or 93 there. And he gave this formula of the plants, how to prepare them and how to them treat HIV patient. Now, at that time, our scientists didn't have capacity to prove what those plants contain. if you look at the plants, Ewusup, Ewudolem, and Casimir, they are all common plants in Teso and Karakokodo area, even the western half there. Let's look at the next slide. Now, I searched for certain names of those plants. Now, Claire, latifolia is one, sometimes species there, and then another twice I confirmed their scientific name. When I searched for literature, I found that in 2013, some gentleman from Europe called Donariso confirmed that that plant, which had happened in 1990 here, contains compounds that kill herpes virus. Remember, herpes virus was a problem with HIV patients. It was called CCP. So these herbalists, with no technology, new plants will kill herpes. In 1990, now we can discover many 23 years later that indeed that plant will kill the virus that causes herpes. This second plant, which the man was using, now scientists have proven that in 2020, the man proved that it also kills HIV virus. It stops the virus from multiplying. So we can really see that even though our grandfathers had no technology, by instinct, by observation, whatever they were using, they are using plants that could help people. Two of them can also kill the agent. 2021, when COVID came, what did we use in COVID? Zanzibar species and Wapogia. Because we knew that just commonly kill viruses. And these our grandfathers used measles, another viral disease many years ago. Next slide. I would always present this case about our medicine. When I was Dr. Esther in Ministry of Health, I think that was 2006, around there, a young man was brought into our lab to work on clutches. And the mother told us that he was, I think, in P4, 9 years. I think they were playing football one day, and then he was kicked by his friend. I think 3 days later he developed pain, and then the leg began producing pus. So they took him to the clinic, and they drained pus, and they gave some treatment, but it was not draining. So they got to drain the pus and treat the leg. Go to the next slide. So the boy was brought with a plaster. The next slide, just to show. When we open the plaster, here at one again, you could see how they are cutting and draining. Now, when we read the need, they say the best thing to do is amputate, cut off the leg of this 9-year-old boy. And they went to some hospital where they said they should cut it. I think it's somewhere years, but they wanted 800,000. Those days, that was not from money. They could not afford, so they went to Mango. Mango was a bit cheaper those days. Mango said 600, they still could not afford. So they came to Mulago Hospital, Mulago said, we're going to cut, but for free. But women like moving together. No, ladies only move together when they have problems. So their friend, the mother said, but there's a place in one year called where there's some comments. Why don't you first try it? You go bring the boy's leg to the car. So we was brought. And I remember the later Sophia Apio, she was a botanist. We sat down and designed a treatment for this boy. Our medicine to apply, she also gave something for immune system. So they're going to take proteins, eggs, and also added one antibiotic to prevent some infection. Next slide, after 2 weeks, what did we see? So when they came back, I took another photo after 2 weeks. The wound had covered. Next slide, 3 weeks. And 4 weeks. It can work. Without clutches, but the mother said you can play football. But if they had cut, you would be moving with clutches. So the point is that our medicines can be useful. But why do it sometimes fail to work? Next slide. Why do medicines sometimes fail to work? One, usually we don't know the correct dose. That herbalist said that his medicine will do this thing, then he gives an injection and repeats after 2 weeks. I doubt it will work against the virus. So his problem was maybe the dosage, the right dose used. Second, the correct disease. No drug works for all diseases. I think there's a mumba. There's something called a mumba. You have cough, take a mumba. You are pregnant, take a mumba. Everything, take a mumba. No. You can't feel like that. There are something that these compounds, these plants can be unstable. They need to be stabilized. So you can prepare Murula now, but by tomorrow morning it may not be effective. If you prepare aloe vera now, boil it now, it's bitter, isn't it? Let's say overnight, the morning is not bitter. These are some compounds that what? Very disappear. What we call the production is very important to ensure that whatever I produce should be consistent in same nature of time. Next slide. So back to forest. I look at things in this point of if you want to promote trees, you must motivate people. If without motivation, people shall not promote trees, they will keep cutting trees down. So at dinner, we come up with ways of motivating people to grow trees. Now we have made products from plants that people buy to earn to feed themselves, but the farmers also grow these trees to give us raw material, and they earn money, and they're growing most of the time because they're earning money out of food. Next slide. I'll show you some of the plants that we use. That plant called Wabugia, it was called complex tree during COVID time. When I told people that I make it from Wabugia, everyone looked for Wabugia. Everyone was looking for it. So we make 3 products from that plant. The general cough, which is very good to cough. I saw some madam technique behind there. We have some behind there. General for flu and allergy and cough, which you know very well. They are from that plant plus the few other plants. Next. So right now, if you have a Wabugia plantation, you can earn money from Germany. But still the biggest way to Germany because it's forbidden. So I buy those who have it, I buy from them and I convert them into medicine and I use the leaves. Then this plant I'm going to use for treating ulcers. It's a very good medicine for curing wounds. It causes tissue regeneration. It regenerates cells, it regenerates tissue. But it's very scarce now. If you go to say you may not see it there. So people need to plant it. You need to grow it. Because 10 years, 5 years, you can start animal out of it. Next slide. Then there's this one for high blood pressure, African rawolfia. Now this medicine was the first to be clinically used in modern hospitals. They isolated the compound from it, and this to treat high blood pressure. They learned it from the Indians. Now the white man went to India before they were using that plant. He went to a lab and picked one compound called reserpine, which high blood pressure, as the normally think science should be. It worked, but it's supposed to be pressure. There are less other compounds that help to cover the side effects of what? Of reserpine. The Indians still use that today to handle and it works well, handle it and what? And everything else. Because there's other compounds that help to reverse side effects of reserpine. And it grows very fast. If you go to Calanda, it's there, it's on like yoga and like yoga. If you look at global, today, I'm looking for anyone who has these plants. Lemongrass, because we use the oil, we have medicine and provide a flavor. Now a liter is going for 250 to 300,000. 1 liter of the oil from it. But when you can't find it, we're thinking of importing. Why? Why can't we grow them? The machines are there. Not eucalyptus, but the globulus, not eucalyptus, not grandis and others. Okay. There's this, doctors talk about this. Any man above 50 years, you need to be medicine. Because you have blood that begins to release when you don't have the you have to begin to enlarge, bring one to start enlarge. It's now the most scarce plant around. But the people who grew it 20 years ago, 50 years ago, are now earning out of it. You buy from them, and the guy is machine who told me that his grandfather planted it, the guy already passed him, but now the children are. So trees may not benefit you immediately, but just next year they benefit more. Next. Then there's a weakness in men. I don't know whether it's a weakness because of stress. Every man I meet a professor, they have something for this. Now, I'm told that grandfather those days used to go to the forest in the evening. They come back when they're very strong. and they have like 10 wives. And the wife don't complain. This plant, to get Africana, is very useful. We need to grow it. There's one called, since I talked at Blata, I think people know it. I think called Mogoro in Western Uganda. It's much more difficult to grow, but it's too scarce to find it. It's more powerful than this one. But this also works well. So I'm just showing you the thing that you can cultivate and manage in the near future. Next. And the other products we make, I mean, they are not like big trees, they're just simple plants like Artemisia and so on, and bouquet and so on, for diabetes. Next slide. This is for malaria. I talk about people not getting malaria in Uganda frequently. General is good. And then immune system, we talk about people become weak immune system. We have a campaign the immune system on the place. This is sickle cell medicine. This was the first medicine I designed. And it was out of a desire to help my own nephew who was having sickle cell. And still has it, but it's now 30 years. So I discovered that Nigerians identified that a plant called xanthan had ancillary properties. So what I did was look for a similar genus in Uganda, and I found Chalibia, and I discovered that just has ancillary compound. When I made it, it could help sickle cell children not get frequent attack. While that ensure them, they stay fairly normal and they can live fairly normal life and age. And then we have for people who want to lose weight. This one is from a plant called I think called Omu. You know, in Western Uganda, the cattle keepers choose some plants to stay not feel hungry. They eat in the morning. So while they're going to keep chewing, and we found that plant stops you from wanting to eat all the time. So when you did experiment in the laboratory animals, the animals are eating less, they are losing weight. So when you take it, you eat less food, and you slowly lose weight. We have other products which you go to the last slide, the products are there. So in conclusion, forests are not only for timber. We know forests for timber, firewood, building materials. They are non-forest products which are very useful. We already talked about medicines. We can build our economy, we can build our health system based on forest-based medicine. They're what we call nutraceuticals these days. We heard about propolis, all those things. They are foods, but they also provide medicines in them. But those I talked about them, we just go and sit in the forest and breathe and recover from some diseases. Oxygen, Kampala is the most polluted place. If we had more forests in Kampala, we would have cleaner air. I was in Kigali. They seem to have better air because they have a number of trees around their home. We need more trees in Kampala. And of course, water, I don't know. We better mention this a long time ago. So I want to end by saying, every year let us plant trees. I plant trees every year. This year I'm going to plant like 5,000. Medicinal trees, not timber trees.
Thank you very much, Bro. I think we shall call you back to have a discussion for adults only. Then I look at some of those students in more detail. And also, I got this one from Sandra on the 20th of May. Now you have had the importance of what's on 20th of May, we shall be in botanical gardens. Okay, 20th of May, mark that day. Prof said you just go and sleep in the forest and you shall be okay. Very good. I know Marco. We go there twice a year. And I don't think this forest is still there. Because the model we know that's the type of forest. There is no forest. There is, we've been monitoring the only endemic species of the bird is in that marker there of Uganda. It's called the fox river. It nests in only one type of tree. It's called the Western acacia. It is the only one that they are cutting down. I think it's the only tree left That's so the mockery is done. So thank you very much, Bro, for such a fantastic presentation. When we were campaigning against Mavira degazettement, we didn't have you. You would have given us very good support. We managed, but this is very good information as well. We would have used that you can go to the forest, just sit down and take your rest. It's fantastic. This is very good. So, so this is very nice. Thank you very much. I hope you have been taking your comments and your questions, and those who are managing the machines, please keep watch online for our colleagues who are attending online, so that we don't miss their comments. And I will not waste time. So for those who have comments or questions for our two speakers, I didn't know that you know each other. We are going to be strangers. So that means the science world is very, very small. Yeah? The science world is very small. Can I see those who are going to ask questions? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. I will first take the 5, and then we can come back for the next slot after. So let's pass on the 20.
Thank you, Edu. Thank you for this talk. It's a really nice talk. Cambridge Excellence from National Planning of Environmental Plan. However, this, as we see, we are not using it policy-wise. In the planning, we are bringing it every other time. And yet, I see that it's good for socio-economic development, because as forests, we are not sick, then the economy will decrease if we are doing poverty eradication. So they also encourage make you come and we talk with the planners and the National Planning Authority. Doctors, we thank you still for this herbal medicine, but how do you encourage these people? Here I did friends of cotton when I was young, this where I used to have correct information, but they are not ready to release this information. And yet even they are not ready to go to school and learn and pick up music. Yet they have knowledge. These indigenous people, they give you the way you build, but you had that background that you were educated. Even the educated, personally me, I have what I know, but I feel like if I take it, someone will take that knowledge from me. Maybe let me keep selling it on a lower scale and then have some people that. How are you encouraging them?
Thank you. I split this side.
That's good. Yeah.
Is that one? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor, for the amazing presentation that you just made. My name is Takan Wangaba, and I'm a fine artist. I'm here today when she sent this message about forests. I was immediately attracted to come and find out what's going on. I'm specifically interested in medicinal trees, and I encourage my friends, my clubmates in Rotary, to plant medicinal trees. And in our club, we have planted about 800 Prunus africana. During the yeah, that is the tree that we identified. And the reason we identified it as a key species was because someone told a story that it had nice wood and it makes excellent charcoal, and that's why it's running extinct. And I was so sad. So I told club members, why don't we now try to replant? But no matter how much we plant these trees, no matter how much we protect the forests, you see, everything is essentially timber. You go in someone's office, go to LFA, their desks are timber. Go to government offices, wherever you go, there is a need for timber. And I was asking myself, I have a workshop, a frame shop, which uses timber. I'm responsible for some of the damage caused. So I was asking myself for a long time, what can I do to ensure that trees are not cut as much? And 6 years ago, we found out that bamboo can make timber. So we say, then why don't you plant bamboo? So it's like unbelievable to start with a seedling in trying to get a solution to a crisis. But we started. So myself, I went and planted 100 acres of bamboo in a PG. Yes, and my friends planted 50, 30, 70. Now we have about 250, and we try to plant every year. And the secret is that if we surely get timber, because the reason why they are cutting the short trees, the mangoes, pawpaws for timber is because there is an urgent need for this product. Everyone needs timber. And even if you put guns, even the gun itself is same. So what do you do? So for me, I'm thinking that we should encourage our farmers, people who are growing forests, to plant bamboo, because when we have sufficient bamboo, then it can be turned into timber. We have already set up a factory in Kono, working with the Dutch, and we are already making timber. But there is no bamboo. And everybody tells you they won't plant bamboo because it has no market. But we are looking for bamboo and we can't find it. You see, like you mentioned, that grass from which you extract that essential oil. I only see it. I even had it at home, but I didn't know that it had any economic value. Now I know. So I would encourage members in this house to send the message out there, or even to start with you. Let's plant bamboo, because it is one of the very few species on earth that can give you timber without cutting the tree. So that is my message today. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you, Professor Wang, for the great job of confidence that you did. I know that you saved so many lives, especially my family members. We really depended on it, sent it abroad, did everything, and indeed when I saw you on the poster, I said I must come. I tried to call you 1,000 times. The number was going through, but was not thinking. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And because up to now, I still carry a complex. Let's have this.
Thank you very much. I have to move with you to the COVID experience. Is this security? My question is specific about Prunus africana. I'm not a scientist and a writer, but I read a lot about medicine. I'm consuming some Prunus africana from Mugarawe. I'm sure you've visited that place before. And when I run out of that park, I'll come to Jenna. Now, my question about Prunus is that is it good for both prevention and treatment, or it's mainly for the treatment side of things? And does it have any potential side effects depending on the dosage? I know that may appear an obvious question, but when you go online, one reads different things. And sometimes I've noticed that Big Pharma is also fighting online to give a negative opinion about herbal medicine. Because Big Pharma is always laughing around. Some elephant is always trying to fight against it. And then lastly, can Prunus africana be domesticated for commercial purposes? Because I understand it takes a long time to grow, and of course, the older the tree, the better the bark. So can it be domesticated for commercial purposes? Thank you very much. My name is Daniel Karubijan.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Is there another person on this? Prunus africana is actually very easy to plant growth. Let's go to the back. Last slide.
Thank you, members, and special thanks to the two doctors who have given us the talk. Babaine, I work in Zambia. 2 days ago, I came from Zambia for this talk. I'm a member of NatureUganda. And at the same time, I'm a full member of Wildlife and Environmental Conservation Society of Zambia. So it's not official representation, but I felt that I have to come. And when I am here, I go immediately and I share with the National Office of Environmental Conservation of Zambia. So I have two observations for the two speakers today. Is it possible that we can update the literature available, especially the herbal trees? For instance, in Zambia, we have an up-to-date book, Know Your Trees. And in there, literature is given, what is it used for, its cultural importance, economic importance, medicinal importance, ecological, and other things that concern that tree. I have had a collection of trees here in Zambia, and I have a considerable literature written so many years ago by historians, colonialists, missionaries here in Uganda and Zambia. It seems we don't have the newest book. Can our specialists help us to give us an up-to-date piece of literature in one book? I pray, please. The second concern is it's a personal observation and an opinion. I could be right or wrong. I feel that in Uganda, our specialists are in offices for administration. Can we reverse this? I am not a scientist by training. I'm a catechist because I am a missionary. So when I was in Europe doing fieldwork studies in this area, out of interest, at every point, I had two specialists and they were knocking at my door. Let us go to the field. You will have a botanist and maybe a chemist begging me to go to the field, and that's where they operate from. But I observe in Africa, a number of countries I have gone to, our specialized people are in offices doing administration. Tell us if this is right. Can't we change the trend that our specialized people are in the field doing field work, where we can identify, classify, name, and maybe guide the people who need this kind of information? So that's the difference which the concern I have at this time. For instance, I have the last 17 years in my village here in Uganda. I have collected an 8-acre piece of land, and I have tried to conserve and regenerate some trees, shrubs, and grasses of economic importance, helped by Karagwe area, then our botanical gardens, and is it Napoli? So I have this place put together, but I need people to identify these trees and herbs, to name them and to guide me. They are there. So that's why I say, where are our specialists in the field? Thanks so much, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you very much, and welcome from Zambia. We'll back to read those that receives our colleagues and partners. Okay, can I see the last hand who is there? Yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our doctors of today, and for your great presentations. Then Mwebasi, a student in Natural Science and Forestry at Makerere University and my family here. I'm glad to be here, and with your presentations, I took one concern which I would like to have clarity about. In my view, I think one of the challenges that we have in Uganda regarding the use of herbal medicine is loss of indigenous knowledge. And this is happening by all the people are being wiped out, especially by age and by some other factors. And these are dying with the knowledge we own. most of them don't want to release the knowledge and share it with people, and find someone who knows the medicine and somehow, and they don't tell it out, they don't share it to people. And when these are not, we can not have that knowledge anymore. So my concern is that, is there any provision in Ghana that is looking at preserving some of this knowledge, mostly which is indigenous and maybe scientific, preserve it for the future generations, that some of these medicines can be used forever? Because currently our generation, with the current trends where students and young people grow from schools, they grow from urban areas, some of them don't know the use of some of these medicines. And they are just remaining to those people who are deep in the villages near forests. They are the ones that are mostly using some of these medicines. And then leaving most of the large population here in urban areas and most other places without any knowledge about this. So my guidance will be about how can we make sure that this knowledge is available to everyone and maybe it is documented for future use and for generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your question quite similar. Documentation, documented. The things we are talking about, I do agree that there's a lot of knowledge out there. Professor Bar, when you're talking about medicine, I started having flashbacks. When I was living in the village, you could see lots of people, it's always ladies actually, who go out to the bushes and come with the baskets of shrubs and these kind of things. Sometimes you actually just to say abuse them, say no, these are witch doctors, but they were actually practicing medicine. And that's what my friend, the young man, is saying, that information is going to get lost because it's not well documented. I just have one small one for Esther. I'm quite interested about these keystone species, because if one species can collapse in the ecosystem, then wherever this species is, we should really look for it. There may be many, but I think we need to point them out. For us who are working with the animal side, as colleague is there, we have these what we call keystone species. So you have got one species, like one frog, and know this is it, and you use that frog to protect the ecosystem around it. And they've done it with birds as well. So it would be nice if we can identify some of those species and see whether we can build. And I think Tanga was right. You can't talk about everything. Just get one ambassador species, and then you use it, because you need to get some critical mass for you to accept to accept your message. And that's the kind of message that we can use. Let's have the final one. I see somebody clicking like this. His hand is short and round. I might have something to do.
Thank you very much. I'm Sekate. I'm a traditional healer. And thank you very much, doctors, for the presentation. Now, the first one goes to Dr. Katuna about the forests and plants. Would there be a difference between the natural forests products and the planted medicinal gardens that finally turn out to fall in their medicinal use? And also, as a traditional healer, at times we use animals for medicines. So within the forests, we are also interested in animals that live within. And there are some synergistic effects of the animals within the plants, such that somehow the medicinal values of the plants are potentiated by the animals that live within. The second one goes to Professor Ogwang. You talked about dosage, that at times medicines might fail to work because of dosage, which is very logical and indeed very true. But I wonder how the animals determine the dosage. Also, possibly how your grandparent, the person who was living near that forest, I wonder what knowledge he had about the dosage as he was really benefiting from the forests. And also it brings me to the issue of how much we as humans have lost by trusting our brains so much, and we disregard our intuitions. Because when you look at the question he has raised, the loss of knowledge when people die, that's true. But still animals die, but they don't lose the knowledge. Equally so, humans die and they have died many years, but there is a way we access that knowledge. Even if you are not really taught in class, intuitively, so there is a need to actually revalue our values like we have done, and revalue our intuitions, natural intuitions. And possibly finally, my friend Tata, suppose Professor Wang found the medicine out of bamboo. Would do that great service to you? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, traditional. This is my first time to find a modern traditional habits. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for coming. I hope you have some contacts with Professor Wang and Dr. Kasula.
He's my professor at the university.
So that's very good. Okay, thank you very much. And before I come to you, let's hear from our online listeners. Can we pick some questions from there? Now, the first one I can say is that they are saying Bugoma is going. What are we doing about it? I can see it is there. We have discussed that question before. I will have a take on it, but I'm sure others can as well. Why don't we promote fast-growing trees so that we can provide trees for charcoal and then the timber and then leave the natural forest? That's Dr. Hilton. Then Dr. Kalema is saying, that Dr. James Kalema, I think, he's giving information. There is a book about forest trees of Uganda, and it has current information. I have a copy in my office. It has some good information about what you're talking about. It's not a big book. I'm sure it can be, the next edition, I'm sure, will be much bigger to cover much ground. Then Tony is saying, can government through NFA begin labeling trees? Label trees. This is for charcoal, this is for medicine, this is for firewood. We used to do that at Makerere University. I don't know if they still monitor them. I think you have missed something about Hamilton. I think there is a book by James Kalema again and Hamilton. It is called The Forest, a guide to the forest trees of Uganda. We launched it here this year. I'm not sure whether it is in the library behind there. So it is the information for those who are looking for. Okay, steps should be taken to incorporating that knowledge into the curriculum. I'm not sure whether Professor Kwame have thought about that in Tanatura. Is it something? Now these days the new curriculum is talking about skilling, skilling the youth, skilling the guidance. Is it the information that can be incorporated into the new curriculum so that my friend, the young man, can also grow up knowing a bit of this information? Why do we sue government for failure to protect Ugoma? Why don't we? I think that's seems to be the question. And putting people's health at risk, exposing people to the impacts of climate change. So I think this one wants to move, to move a bit faster. Nema already assumed but was unsuccessful. So there was some discussion on the forum. So removing ethnobotany from the course at Makerere University was not but also a probe to research the medicine. Is it true they removed that subject? Yes. Is it? Yes. Say that there. Now, this before we go out, we should go to Makerere University and reinstate the course. Many animals eat leaves, and then they become bitter. Then the plants increase toxicity in response to being eaten, and that's the way how energy. A natural explosive. Just think that it becomes bitter. That is thanking everybody, and maybe that will be the last one. Wonderful presentation, Dr. Prof. Forests are very important for health and food security. The effective conservation management should consider local community participation through community-based conservation. I think that's one of these area-based conservation. Okay, I think that's about it from our online research. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies online. Next time, please make an effort to come and join us at the museum, but we also appreciate that you found the time to join online. So let me invite our speakers to respond. Most of them were compliments, really. Dr. Katura, I can tell you we are going to invite you, and this one will be by invitation only for more discussion about more specifics. I'll start with the professor.
Thank you very much. I think one of the questions of my kind of was I'll answer, I think, two that were directed to me, or that I can answer. The other is best fit to answer them. I want to start with Dr. Sekaja on how animals discover. Intuition is what kept mankind from the time that they were good until now. But we have put aside the intuition for science. Science should validate intuition, but science should not lead to the end of intuition. One thing I also know is that much as we need to use scientific approaches to discover something that proves something, there's something that cannot be proven using science. That means that we don't know and we cannot prove using science. We will stop using them. We should continue using them. But why those is important is that it helps us to get consistency in outcome and for the general population benefit, because people vary from by age, by weight, by all these things, but those that can be used generally to get a good outcome. Of course, the risk of not working with those that you may take too much, like somebody said, and it becomes bitter and it becomes toxic, but then realize it's late. So that's why it's important to establish the dose. Now, the other question was on Prunus africana, for preventive and opportunity. What we know right now is that it's useful for relieving enlarged prostate, when it's enlarged. But I also believe that, although there's no scientific evidence, I believe that even for people should be useful because it has anti-inflammatory activity, it also has the muscular. And if they would have a large prostate cancer, the difference will be that you have to use it more frequently if you have a large prostate. In terms of side effects, they say even water has side effects. The Chinese diet of drinking what? Excess water. So if you take it in excess, you may so the question I was answer. Bamboo. Now, if we grow bamboo for timber, we must take it to the factory for conversion to benefit it. They have to crush it and make timber out of it. How do they make timber out of bamboo? I don't understand. Their house in the village, we may be able to buy your bamboo over the timbers. But I would also want to grow bamboo if you can give me seedlings.
Thank you, Prof. And well, ask the different questions. I think I'll answer as much, but we can always discuss these issues. Animals have an effect on the level of medicine in a forest, for instance, or if forests are planted, would they have the same medicine? Compounds to fight or to ward off herbivory or microbial attack from what is in the ecosystem. So once an ecosystem is distorted, it may be important to know if this crop that grows singly or alone may have the same composition. Most likely not. Even biogeography, the distribution of the plants, the same plant may have varying composition of the active compounds because of where they are planted due to temperature and other climatic changes or effects. So sometimes that's what is why it's important as we plant forests. Of course, it's important for mitigation of diseases and production of medicinal products. But it's also important to preserve these indigenous forests we have, that we may have wider diversity, and also as our controls as we do research. In future, we may not have controls if we deplete the indigenous forests. Planting growing trees for fuel is good, yes, but also it's an era of innovation, and we should think of other ways of innovating instead of cutting trees for fuel. Many innovations actually we have seen on the market, briquettes from paper, from waste, from etc. can replace, we don't have to use firewood, even the modern houses we have now. May not accommodate firewood. We need to move with times and benefit from the resource of the real plantations for health and for economic growth. The question or the concern of the medicines from plants it's important to know that drug development is a big process. It's a wide process with different steps. And medicines which are indigenous are at a local scale. In most cases, called galenicals, they don't require dosage. Sometimes, Dr. Sekaja, infusion could work, it worked. But beyond that level, there is standardization whereby he's telling us he has extracted this and formulated this. And now that from there we start requiring the need to determine the dosages of these medicines. And when we go to synthesis, whereby we use now single chemicals like quinine, which is also from fish, then for that case, dosage is important. So it depends on the level we are operating on. But are we going to remain on the galenicals on the first level? The first level destroys many trees. I know we may not run away from using such medicines, but we can reduce by standardizing and synthesizing for the wider growing population, which cannot depend on the forests that we have, hence what's that. Specialized people are going in offices. Yeah, this professor should answer. Why not sit in the industry for sure? and some data, but to tell you the truth, we are even getting low numbers of scientists. If I tell you the number of scientists we have now, we used to be so big a class, but now there are so few biologists that list as subjects. So we are getting even fewer professionals in this field. So it's going to be a greater risk. It's a point of wider discussion, but sometimes it's a conflict of interest. Bernard, the concern on the loss of IK, yeah, people have kept secrets and died with them, with their knowledge. And actually other people have tapped into other people's knowledge and used them without benefiting the indigenous people. So it's a great concern. But thanks and good news. And otherwise, it's a game, give and take, and each side, the investor wants to make money and the indigenous person wants to keep their knowledge. It's a point that we need to come together to resolve, so that, as I said, if we put value chains in place, everyone will be comfortable in their point of provision of resource, and everyone will benefit from this resource. They wouldn't need for hiding or, but like you see maize, everyone grows maize, and at each level everyone is benefiting. Likewise, we can make medicinal plants in such ways. Yes, Doctor, the need to determine key species is very paramount, and we did this for shea butter at Swan, and there are many more. There's a gap in that area. I think people get projects to do in that area, and right, it's a gap. The documentation of knowledge is inadequate. We have good people have written books. The information is not yet good. If we talk about research, how much has been done to determine even the pharmaceutical properties of the plant in Uganda, a very small percentage has been researched upon to derive data that can even be written about. So it's still an area that is a gap, and we need research to compile this information that we may document it for future use before losing it. Medicinal planting species, that is commendable. Thank you. Thank you, NatureUganda, for the tree planting activities you're doing, but and you know that actually bamboo has other benefits, health benefits. You know that nutritious source in barley. Don't only plant for wood, whatever tree is planted, many products can come from it, and all those products could be harnessed for such a single resource. Don't throw anything away, but research can be provided for you to maximize the profit aside construction of wood. Same applies to pruners. Thank you so much for that effort. And I believe for prevention, the use of young trees of pruners are beneficial for prostate cancer. But of course, for treatment, the older the wood, the more the deposits of the active ingredient, and the better. So sustainable utilization or harvesting of the trees that are there needs to be controlled so that this continued flow of those resources. Of course, it is important to know that some of these trees, for instance, Prunus africana, those chemicals cannot be synthesized. They are too heavy and complicated to synthesize. So that's why sometimes the natural medicines, as he says, as Professor Wang says, actually have to come from nature, some of them, because you may not synthesize some of them. For those which can be easily synthesized, then they should be. Chloroquine was synthesized based on the structure of quinine. It is a simpler molecule, and it worked for a certain time before resistance came in. Synthesis can go on and modification, so long as we know the lead compounds at hand. I think others were compliments, unless if there is a key issue. Thank you for.
Yes, I think there's a lady from NPA who asked about how we encourage people to reveal their knowledge. I one time wrote a document to the Ministry of Health, like around 2011, when I came from China. What the Chinese did, the government of China called everyone who had knowledge about trees and medicinal benefits, and they captured that knowledge as a national treasury. Now, whenever a company wants to use that knowledge, they negotiate with the government and they pay royalties to the government, they are person benefits. So we as a country could as well capture that knowledge. Even if I'm not there, my children can benefit, the government wants to use my knowledge. But right now, what we do is that one, like for me, what I do, I tell the family that has that knowledge that you're done with supply raw material for my company until when we disagree. So the benefit by supplying the raw material, I don't know how they process initially. I'll let you know that the raw material they're supplying like a powder, then I use it to make the medicine. But also there are some who are willing to share their knowledge. If you teach them about how they can also improve their medicine, they cannot share with you their knowledge about their medicine. And there are some who just want to share because you did good to the country or they know you're helping people. They also want to share the knowledge who can improve on it. They are there also.
That's a good ending. I think those who were asking how do we put together this information, mobilize people, everybody says their own things, then put in archive, and everybody wants to use it. That's what access and benefit sharing is all about, isn't it? As I didn't introduce Esther in a different way, that she's also a national negotiator on access and benefit sharing under the Convention on Biological Diversity. So she knows the global politics about these things that we are talking about. So I also know some things. So you call me. I think with someone we're going to say, can you give your last comment? I think the last one.
Thank you, Doctor. I think I know what you're doing now. Thank you, Dr. Achilles, and thank you, Professor Wang and Dr. Esther, for the presentation. My name is Mugume Amun. I work here at Uganda Museum as a natural scientist for the museum. Yeah, actually, I wanted just to give some information. We are, as Uganda Museum and the Congo Cultural Center, we are working on a project to document herbal plants and herbal medicine of Uganda. The project is starting in the next 2 months. And a few colleagues were involved, actually, from within the industry, and Professor Wang also was part of our workshops. We tried to, first of all, what drove our idea was people were not ready to share this information. But we tried to sample out. We moved in 67 districts of Uganda, trying to sample out. We should already share this information and can we document it and see how much we can document. Possibly we'll start from there. And we really found out that people in the villages, the knowledge, the information we have that they are not ready to share. We realized that the people we met, it's only like 20% of the people that were not ready to share the information. They were ready to share, but if it was a business sense, then you come on a business model. But if it was academic, they were ready to share. So we found that people were ready to share this information, but I think we need to have an harmonized way of getting this information and seeing how also they can benefit from it. But as we are trying to document this information, we hope in the next 3 years, we should have some up-to-date information, and we obviously will be contacting most of the institutions involved in this, Ministry of Health, Makerere University, and we have the researchers from different institutions, Barrow University, Makerere University, Bishop Stewart, and Uganda Museum on Social Anthropology. So I hope with time, we'll also be having such a discussion and sharing up-to-date information on this kind of topic. Thank you.
That's very good. I'm happy to come up with some way forward. So there are some people swear, but they seem to be scattered. I think what is coming out of this discussion is that we need to put all these things together as a national resource, international archive, so that we know which information came from who. If there are any benefits accruing from that information, then the person provided the formula or the tip benefits from it. It's a very big topic on access and benefit sharing at a global level. And when I was coming here, I called Francis Ogwara, who is our national focal point for CBD. I thought he would be here, but it's Nairobi. And he said, globally, there are a lot of discussions going, but locally, we are still taking things not for granted, but we are national level. The discussion is not yet hitting up. For example, if Professor Paul goes to Kasola Kitomi Forest, I know that's where a lot of Obukia came from, because I met some of your your boys or the people who were doing business. If you get to Obukia, that's the plant that was one of the plants that we used for conflict. And you make conflicts. How will the people in the Middle East benefit from that outpost, from that access of the resources that their parents and grandparents have protected for years? That discussion at the national level is not yet very big, and I think we need to go. And Mr. Mukuma, I think that's where we need to go. If you go to Magoro, the people who use the Magoro, some of them are still there. Okay? Even if the trees are not there, but the people who have the information about those different types of trees, are still there. But if you get that information, how do you promise that when you're using that information, the people will actually? I think they will give you the information. Okay, the theme for International Day of Forest was health and forest and health. And they added another phrase, and they said it is not only taking, we should also be giving. So in other words, it is not only going to the forest and extract and harvest, we need also give back. NatureUganda is implementing a project right now, which we are calling People Partner with Nature. We are used to partnering with other people for business. But for us, we are thinking that we can actually have a partnership with the nature, have responsibility, because nature has responsibilities to give you, and you also should have responsibilities to make sure that nature can continue to give you those ecosystem services. I think that's probably the way together, the way forward. And I will end it there. Thank you very much. Our next public talk will be on the 8th of June. We are going to be talking about mountain gorillas. So we shall ship from France, mountain gorillas, all apes, and Dr. Gladys Karema will also be launching her book, Walking, is it Walking with Gorillas, or I think it's Walking with the Gorillas. Walking with the Gorillas. So she will be launching it here on 8th of June. Please don't miss that opportunity. So thank you very much again for coming. We appreciate you managed to come here. There are quite a number of products at the back that Professor Brown came with. I want to run and get there before everybody makes very good. And then we shall meet on the 8th of June. Thank you very much.